Why you wouldn't last hours in the Dark Ages. The average medieval peasant drank more alcohol than today's binge drinkers, because their water could literally kill them. Today we're plunging into the filth, fear, and unthinkable struggles of the Dark Ages. And you'll see why you wouldn't last even a few hours. Wait until you hear what happened to toilet paper back then. Quick challenge. Which would break you first in the Dark Ages? Starvation, disease, or violence? Drop your pick below before we dive in. Could you really handle a world where no one washed their hands? Ever? In the Dark Ages, clean water was such a threat that villagers drank weak ale from sunrise to nightfall. But dirty hands spread diseases faster than war. Lice nested in filthy hair, skin infections oozed for weeks, and minor cuts turned septic in days. Children died from diseases modern soap could destroy in seconds. One handshake could doom an entire family. In a world where you had no idea about microbes, dirt ruled everything. Protect yourself from their invisible army. Soap is modern army. Death by bread. What if biting into a fresh loaf could send you into a waking nightmare? In medieval Europe, rye harvests were often infected with ergot fungus, the same hallucinogen behind St. Anthony's fire outbreaks. People convulsed, screamed of demonic visions, and died in droves. Entire villages believed they'd been cursed, but it was simply rotting bread. No food inspectors, no test strips, no chance to recover. If you ate, you gambled with your sanity and your life. Imagine toast turning your mind to mush. Modern food regulations stand between you and medieval horror. Inspect every bite. Safety starts there. The outhouse nightmare. Picture a foul pit of human waste bubbling under your bedroom floor, seeping into your water with every rainstorm. In medieval cities, cesspits overflowed with nightmarish speed, contaminating wells and rivers with cholera, dysentery, and parasite eggs. The stench was so overwhelming that medieval records describe it as breathing poison. Rats and flies bred in these cesspits and carried sickness directly to your table. A single summer storm could wash that toxic brew straight into your only drinking supply. In that world, you could die from your neighbor's toilet. Modern plumbing is more than comfort. Defend sanitation fiercely. Boiling your clothes. Imagine crawling with lice so relentless you had to boil your own shirts to survive. Medieval people were so infested with parasites that seams and collars turned black from insect eggs. Fleas feasted on your blood daily, spreading plague in unstoppable waves. Boiling garments became the only defense. But even then, lice returned within days. An infected flea bite could erase entire towns from the map in weeks. Picture living with bugs in your clothes every single day. Modern laundry and hygiene aren't luxuries. They're shields forged through centuries of trial and death. Respect the washer. It saves you. The cold of doom. Could you survive winter in a mud hut with no insulation and a dying fire? Medieval peasants often did, wrapped in rags, huddling for warmth as frost bit through thin walls. When fuel ran out, families froze to death overnight, bodies discovered like stiffened statues. No central heating, no electric blankets, just sheer willpower against nature's cruelty. Even a mild winter was deadly if your harvest failed or your woodpile ran dry. Think of that every time you set your thermostat. Heat is more than comfort. It is survival itself. Appreciate its silent power. It keeps you alive. The blood tax. What if you were forced to join a war tomorrow? No questions asked. Medieval lords conscripted peasants with no training, arming them with rusted tools or farming scythes, and sending them straight into vicious battles. Refusal meant execution. Survival odds, close to zero. One moment you were planting seeds, the next you were dying in mud beside strangers. Entire harvests were lost as men vanished overnight to fight a king's war. Our modern choice to say no to war is a freedom built on centuries of blood. Never forget that. Your peace is paid for. Defend it. The water betrayal. Could you drink water that might kill you within days? In the Dark Ages, water sources teemed with animal waste, rotting corpses, and human sewage. Rivers carried cholera, typhoid, and parasites through entire communities, poisoning children and wiping out the elderly. One sip could sentence your family to a slow, gruesome death. With no filters, no testing, and no medicine, people turned to weak beer simply to stay alive. Our clean water today is a silent miracle, engineered drop by drop. Honor that privilege. Protect your drinking water fiercely. Rotting teeth, rotten fate. Imagine a toothache so bad it could kill you. In the medieval world, there were no dentists. Only a neighbor with a rusty blade or pliers. Infected teeth turned into fatal abscesses, spreading poison through the blood, ending lives before 30. The stench of rotting gums was so common that many feared kissing or speaking up close. A single broken molar could lead to a slow, horrifying death. Modern toothbrushes and dental visits are more than vanity. They're survival tools, sharpened by centuries of suffering. Floss like a warrior. Your life depends on it. Waking up in chains. What if one missed payment meant you'd be chained like an animal? In medieval Europe, debtors' prisons took in entire families, children included, without trial, leaving them to starve or be sold. The line between a poor harvest and lifetime slavery was razor thin. Desperate parents watched their kids ripped away for a single unpaid coin. Today's financial safety nets, credit laws, and protections were built to erase those horrors. One slip back then, and you lost everything. Forever. Learn to master your finances. Knowledge is armor. Plague on wheels. Picture rats moving faster than horse messengers, carrying death across continents. The bubonic plague rode on fleas that clung to rodents, spreading at terrifying speed from trade caravans to peasant huts. Towns were wiped out in days. Entire families died before they even understood what had struck them. There was no defense, no quarantine, no antibiotics, just a black wave of death rolling over Europe. Our modern public health systems were born from that horror, built to guard against invisible invaders. Respect those disease barriers. They stand between you and annihilation. The meat gamble. What if every bite of meat risked killing you days later? Medieval butchers had no refrigeration, so cuts rotted in warm markets, crawling with maggots before they even hit your plate. People doused meat in spices and vinegar to hide the stench, praying they wouldn't die from food poisoning or parasites. Rotten pork alone could end entire families with trichinosis or tapeworms. Today's cold chain is an engineering marvel that stops decay before it begins. Don't curse your refrigerator when it hums. It's a modern miracle. Keep it sacred. Sickness in the air. Can you trust a doctor who believes evil smells cause disease? Medieval medicine was built on miasma theory, the idea that foul air alone spread plague. Doctors stuffed their beak-shaped masks with herbs to block imaginary poisons, but they had no clue about germs. Their treatments failed miserably while cities fell to real infections. Millions died because no one could see the tiny killers under a microscope. Today's science and research protect you from those same invisible threats. Trust evidence. It saves nations. No paper, no privacy. Could you handle a world where toilet paper didn't exist? In the Dark Ages, your only wiping options were straw, leaves, or your own bare hands, all teeming with bacteria. Human waste on skin spreads infection straight into wounds or drinking water, fueling disease outbreaks that killed thousands. Medieval latrines were little more than holes in dirt floors, reeking and crawling with flies. Today's toilet paper and sanitation systems are silent heroes of public health. Honor them. They protect far more than dignity. The terrifying healers. Imagine being treated by a doctor who thought cutting you open would cure a fever. Medieval healers used rusty knives, filthy leeches, and searing hot irons to balance mysterious humors. They had no concept of bacteria or sterilization, turning minor infections into raging death sentences. People often survived their illnesses but died from the treatment itself. These gruesome experiments built the foundation for modern medicine's hard-won progress. Trust trained professionals. Science saves lives. So next time your shower goes cold, your power flickers, or your grocery bill feels high, remember what true horror looked like in the Dark Ages. Disease waiting on dirty hands, water that could murder you, childbirth that killed nearly as often as it blessed. We've clawed our way out of centuries of terror through hygiene, science, and law, and those tools keep us alive today. Stay grateful for them, fiercely. Stick around, because next time we'll dive even deeper into history's forgotten nightmares and reveal the hidden survival skills they still have to teach us.